Welcome to our channel. Today, we're going to discuss the story of Joseph. In the land of Canaan, Jacob, who was also called Israel after wrestling with God, lived with his 12 sons, the heirs of God's covenant with Abraham. Among them, Joseph, the son of Jacob's beloved wife Rachel, stood out. At just 17, he was already his father's favorite, a love that Jacob openly displayed by gifting him a richly ornamented robe. But this favoritism ignited jealousy among his brothers, who despised him and couldn't speak kindly to him. Joseph's dreams added fuel to the fire. In one vision, he saw his brothers' bundles of grain bowing to his own. In another, the sun, moon, and 11 stars bowed to him, signs of future authority. Though his family scoffed, the dreams echoed divine revelations given to the patriarchs. The psalmist would later reflect, his feet were hurt with fetters, his neck was put in a collar of iron. Until what he had said came to pass, even Jacob, though initially rebuking him, kept the matter in mind. One day, when Joseph went to check on his brothers near Dothan, their bitterness peaked. They plotted to kill him, but Reuben urged them instead to throw him into a dry cistern, intending to rescue him later. Judah then proposed selling him to passing Ishmaelite traders for 20 silver shekels. They agreed. To cover their betrayal, they dipped Joseph's robe in goat's blood and convinced Jacob that a wild animal had devoured him. Grief consumed Jacob, who mourned bitterly, echoing the pain of his own past deceptions. In Egypt, Joseph was sold to Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh. Despite his circumstances, the Lord was with Joseph, and he quickly rose to manage Potiphar's household. But Joseph's integrity was tested when Potiphar's wife tried to seduce him. He refused, saying, "How then can I do this great wickedness and sin against God?" Falsely accused, he was thrown into prison. Yet even there, God remained with him, showing him steadfast love. While imprisoned, Joseph gained favor with the warden and was put in charge of the other prisoners. Two of Pharaoh's officials, the cupbearer and baker, had troubling dreams. Joseph, acknowledging that interpretations belonged to God, explained their meanings. The cupbearer would be restored and the baker executed. These predictions came true, but the cupbearer forgot Joseph, and he remained in prison for 2 more years. 2 years later, Pharaoh himself was troubled by dreams: 7 healthy cows eaten by 7 sickly ones, and plump heads of grain consumed by withered ones. None of Egypt's magicians could interpret them. Finally, the cupbearer remembered Joseph. Brought before Pharaoh, Joseph credited God and revealed the meaning: 7 years of plenty followed by 7 years of famine. His insight amazed Pharaoh. Pharaoh, recognizing Joseph's divine wisdom, appointed him governor over Egypt, second only to himself. Joseph received Pharaoh's signet ring, fine robes, and an Egyptian wife, Asenath. During the years of abundance, he stored grain and fathered 2 sons, Manasseh and Ephraim, naming them to honor God's faithfulness through his suffering and rise. When famine struck, it also reached Canaan. Jacob sent his sons except Benjamin to Egypt for grain. They bowed before Joseph, unknowingly fulfilling his childhood dream. Joseph recognized them but kept his identity hidden. He accused them of being spies and demanded they bring Benjamin to prove their honesty. Holding Simeon as a hostage, he sent the rest back. On their return, Judah offered himself in place of Benjamin after a silver cup was found in a sack, a test Joseph had planted to examine their hearts. Unable to hold back any longer, Joseph revealed his identity. Weeping, "I am Joseph. Is my father still alive?" He forgave his brothers, saying, "You meant evil against me, but God meant it for good." This powerful moment of grace reflected Jesus' teaching to love one's enemies. With Pharaoh's blessing, Joseph invited his entire family to settle in Goshen. When Jacob heard the news, his spirit revived. Jacob and his family, 70 in total, migrated to Egypt. Along the way, God reassured Jacob, promising to make his descendants a great nation. Father and son reunited with tears of joy. Jacob even blessed Pharaoh, and Joseph provided for his family while overseeing Egypt's response to the famine with fairness and wisdom, fulfilling the biblical principle of providing for one's household. In his final days, Jacob adopted Joseph's sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, giving the greater blessing to the younger just as he had once received over Esau. He then blessed each of his 12 sons and requested burial in Canaan. Joseph honored his father's wish, leading a grand procession to bury him in the family tomb. After Jacob's death, the brothers feared Joseph might seek revenge, but he comforted them and promised to care for them. He lived to the age of 110 and made his family promise to carry his bones back to Canaan when God would fulfill his promise of deliverance. Joseph died, was embalmed, and placed in a coffin, his life a testimony of divine providence. Stephen, in the New Testament, would later reflect on Joseph, saying, "God was with him and rescued him from all his troubles. Though his dreams weren't labeled prophetic, they were revelations of God's plan." Joseph's trials, wisdom, and reunion with his father Jacob tied their lives to the covenant promise made to Abraham and reaffirmed through generations. Joseph's story teaches us about God's providence, how betrayal can become a pathway to blessing. His forgiveness of his brothers echoes Christ's mercy. His trust in God's promises, even in prison, reminds us to hold on to faith. And like the prophets, his dreams were tools of divine guidance. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel for more amazing stories from the Bible.